काय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Welcome to the second session of our retreat, and today afternoon you will have dinner and give up your rest and came to rest to the temple to have a little discussion, some questions, some listening, and that the whole purpose is how to bring our mind from distracted to the world to something positive, something divine, something pleasing, something really beneficial. That is the purpose of all retreats. Whatever subject is taught, whatever knowledge we gain, we want to have the knowledge of God. We say how to know God. All the purpose is same. How to keep our mind to its source, to the something that is very positive, ennobling, and that really matters to our soul, which is permanent. So retreat is meant for that, and we are discussing the power of prayer. As so basic to all of us, right from, as we were talking yesterday, right from our birth, we have one or the other type of prayer until we die, until the last breath. As you know, in the Upanishad, you have heard that. During last moment, human being prays to God, to Sun, please remove your light, the rays, so that I can and remove yourself, and as a lead you are covering the truth. I want to see the truth that is beyond you. That is the very poetic way to say that what we see here is just the covering of the truth. Truth is behind and beyond everything. The sun is just an example, is thought of as a lid on a container, because it's round, it looks round. But the thing is, what we see is somehow is not the whole thing of totality of even the human being. What we see and talk, every human being is very deep inside, and if you go deep inside, we'll find God Himself, whether in my own self or in the self of everyone. So, praying to God that may I see the truth, may I know the truth. And why we run after the truth? Because truth is so blissful. Truth is really source of joy, and throughout our life we seek the truth. And that truth, how to get to that truth is the question. The truth or the reality or the essence of whole creation, which includes my own being and whatever I see and I perceive. What is the real essence? Real essence, as the scripture says, is all bliss, all joy, Satchidananda. So how to reach there is the various ways. Prayer is one of the ways how we can really try to go there. Prayer is the one which is very easily, it comes to us. It's not like, as I was talking, not like Vedanta practice, or not like meditation where you have to go through all the basic requirements. Bhakti, prayer is a part of bhakti, of course, and of course prayer is important in any discipline. Even in self-inquiry, prayer is needed. So you need to pray as we pray to Ganesha. So when upasana is taught to us, Sri Guru might have said, pray to Ganesha. Begins with the prayer, or upasana begins with the prayer. Pray to Ganesha for removal of obstacles, to give us the perfection, the upasana that I am performing. So prayer, our whole life starts with prayer. From the beginning of life until the end, from early morning to even we sleep. When we say good morning or good night, what is that? Isn't that prayer? May you sleep well, may the whole day be good. That is the prayer. Language is just simplified to say good night or good morning. If we do that without any meaning, just for etiquette, hello, good morning, and you don't feel anything that person's morning be good or good day be good, then it becomes just word, when it is not connected with our mind and thought and real feeling is there. When feeling is there in saying good morning, it becomes a prayer. You pray to God that this person's morning be good, this person's whole day be good. And we say good night, may you sleep well, may you gain all your strength and you replenish your energy during your sleep. Sleep is a great process when we regain our freshness of body and mind, and that is the meaning of good night. So good night is also prayer, good day is also prayer. Whatever we wish is a prayer. That's so beautiful, that one verse in Shiva Stotra is Stotrani Sarva Giro. Whatever I speak, may that be stotra, may that be prayer, may that be your praise. Whatever I speak, may that be your praise. So morning till night, birth to death, and in between whatever we do, it should be a prayer. And if we could really connect with some meaningfulness, it becomes prayer. So prayer is inevitable in us. Whether we believe in God or we don't believe in God, even a non-believer will say good night. So that is the prayer, may your night be good. And he doesn't say, I wish to God, I pray to Rama or I pray to Ramakrishna, but he wishes that may your night be good. And I'm going to talk to you that how impersonal prayers are always important. When you don't consider God as the personal being, he is impersonal. And that, do they pray when God is impersonal? So there is the prayer even for the person who believes in impersonal God. And in fact, most of our stotra, most of our Shanti mantras, they are not directed to some God. Few are there, Namaste Vayo, Tomeva Pratyaksham Brahmasi, it says to Vayu, you are God. But many are nothing like that. To whom it is directed, not to anyone. Or like that, some prayer are there. Even the Gayatri mantra is not directed to some particular deity. It says to Savitru, who is the creator of this universe, but not particular deity that it is directed. Like some prayer, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. There is nothing, some God is said, make, oh God, oh Ganesha, make all happy. Not there. May all be happy. It becomes wonderful prayer. That's one of the most popular prayer is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. So, but that is not said to any God, may all be happy. It says, may all be happy. That itself becomes a prayer. When you think of good of someone, it becomes a prayer. So, that is the way. Now, let's go. As we said, Sri Ramakrishna is the one in our age who emphasized a lot upon the prayer. The prayer, which is our original thing from the Vedas, in the mantra portion, Shukta portion, were all prayer. Either prayer for as a praise of God, or prayer for seeking something, as I was telling, Chamaka Prasna is all you seek. Give me this, give me prosperity, give me that. So all is prayer. You see, that is the prayer for. In fact, Chamaka Prasna is the prayer for all worldliness, worldly things we need. We need those things. That prayer itself is worldly prayer too bad, not to be done. Not that. From worldly prayers we need, may I be happy. Sri Ramakrishna went to, they said, oh, why don't you pray? And she said, what to pray for this body, this frame of blood, flesh and blood. Then Naren said, why don't you go and pray for us? When he said that, he got that, Sri Ramakrishna, and I was to Divine Mother and says, Mother, please, that if you could little, he doesn't say that, if you could little make this thing, I could eat a little something, then I could take your name and talk about you to the devotees. And Mother said, aren't you eating through all? Why you need to pray? So that, though Mother said that you don't need to pray, that means Sri Ramakrishna doesn't need to pray for himself something, because his whole life is praying. His every breath is praying. Every breath that pray without ceasing of St. Paul, Sri Ramakrishna lived that life. Otherwise, how you think a drunkard comes at midnight and the Sri Ramakrishna opens, his door is to be opened. And he comes, welcomes him and starts holding his hand and he starts dancing. So, is that whole life is prayer and welcome to everyone and seeing the divine every week? So that how the life was. So Sri Ramakrishna is the one who emphasized the importance of prayer, because prayer is the beginning when the doors are open, you see. As it says, the God's door are closed, and your prayer, it makes the doors open. It's like the calling bell. Prayer is like the calling bell. You press the bell and doors will be open. That person we are talking today, one person wanted to see Holy Mother. He was drunkard, not good life. Padma Vinod was his name. And our Swami Saradananji were not allowed to him to come up because he was live very unhealthy thing, and he was drunkard, always intoxicated, and wants to come to Holy Mother, who was not keeping well, he was old. And at night he had the wish to see Holy Mother. I want to have darshan of Holy Mother. Then he starts praying, walking on the street. Holy Mother is at middle of the night, she is sleeping in a room, old age, sick, and he starts praying. Oh Mother, open your door and show me yourself. He starts shouting on the road, on the street, if you have gone to Holy Mother's house in Kolkata. And Holy Mother listened to that on her bed. And she comes and really opens the door, opens the window upstairs and sees that. And when that drunkard Padma Vinod saw Holy Mother from the street, from the road to the second floor, and then he was so overwhelmed, and then he just started rolling on the ground, Sastanga Pranam on the road itself, dusty road, and he did Sastanga Pranam, and then again he started praying. This time prayer was, he was so overwhelmed, he said that, keep your mother in your heart with all your care. Jatane hridaye rekho adarini shamamati. So keep mother in your heart. Oh mind, you see and I see. Only mind sees and I see. I is that he makes himself different. That's the song it was. Mon tui dekhar ami dekhi, ar jano kehu nahi dekhe. Let no other see that we are seeing the mother. I will see her and you will see her. Let others not know about it. Let even Swami Saradananda not know about it, he said that. Because he is in trouble, because Saradananda didn't allow him to go. So like that is the prayer. You see, prayer can do anything. That, as I was saying, it is like the knocking at the door. He was just singing on the street, and Holy Mother's windows of her room were open for this person. So Sri Ramakrishna says about how to attain God, how to reach that source, how to be connected with the divinity, how to really find that who I am. We are totally oblivious of what we are. We don't know. That is the biggest problem. Biggest problem is we don't know what we are. How to know what is the way to reach to the source of our being? Vedas say Aham Brahmasmi, everything is there. It all floats much above our head. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi, where it goes. We listen to nice things, we read to Vedas, this explanation by Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya and all those. But very nice, when you read we feel so happy, but where is the realization of that? We feel we have not even gone an inch towards the feeling that when we deal with the world, we totally forget and we make ourselves just this psychophysical being. Mind, body, gone, that much, this limited being. Where is that thing? So what is really the way to reach? So Sri Ramakrishna says, there is another way. Earnestly praying to God. What to pray? God is our very own. This feeling. God is our very own. And yesterday one question came, should there be prayer first or faith first? So actually those two are so linked. Prayer in the beginning, maybe even without having faith, we pray. Children, they say pray, we want them to learn. We also pray, whether God is really there or not, we pray. But with the prayer, the faith starts developing and prayer also becomes intensified. Prayer has to be intense and faith will also progress. We may start with the prayer having less faith or no faith, but our prayer will make faith stronger. Faith has to come. Without the faith in God or faith in the prayer that we are offering somewhere, talking, asking, giving, if that is not there, then prayer doesn't reach the real prayer. It just becomes the saying, mechanical recitation of the thing. So prayer and faith are very much interlinked, and both need to develop, progress, heighten together. The more intensive prayer, stronger the faith. That happens. So if we do not have faith at all, then what to do? Can we pray or not? We must pray, and faith will be stronger. If we have faith, then prayer automatically happens. So prayer is the beginning one. Even if we don't have faith, prayer should be there. That prayer will not be intense. It will not be the prayer of really the prayer of a devotee. But the beginning will start. And from then, the faith will start coming, and prayer will also change itself, transform. Prayer will transform itself. God is our very own. We should say to Him, O God, what is Thy nature? Reveal Thyself to me. For why else have You created me? So this is one prayer to God, to know about God. So when we know God, we know ourselves. When we know us, we know God, because God and we are really inseparable and indifferent. And Swami Vivekananda clearly says, when we worship God in a deity or in a temple, we are in fact worshipping our own soul. We are projecting our own soul in the form of God, and we call God as infinite existence, absolute knowledge, and absolute bliss. But where does it come from? To say that it is my own soul I project outside and start worshipping and praying. If it is not connected to me, God is great, and what I am not totally unconnected, disconnected from God, the prayer will not come, there will be no meaning. It has to be connected to me. So God we worship outside is the projection of our own soul on God. That's how Dvaita and Advaita can be, we can make a relationship between Dvaita and Advaita. Though the prayer and worship is Dvaita, but it all originates, the basis source of this Dvaita practice is Advaita, because God has to have some relationship with me. Ultimately, as Hanuman said, that is the best thing of combination of Dvaita and Advaita. When I think myself as the body, then I am your servant and you are my master. When I think myself as Jiva, then I am your part. First Dvaita, then Vishishta Dvaita. Then, but when I think myself as the Atma, then there is no difference between you and me. What I worship outside is my real self. Not only it is in me, but it is my real self. So there it comes. So prayer makes us the Lord, you reveal your nature to me. When God reveals His nature to us, then we find that, oh, God is really my own self. That is the real revelation of God. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Sri Krishna shows his Vishwarupa Darshana, as if the nature of God is revealed. But is it total revelation of the God's nature? It's not that. It is God's glory is revealed. But God's real nature will be revealed when we will find that God is really my Atma. Then when I and God will be one, then God's nature will be revealed. Someone came to in Sufi saying there is, they say that the reality, the truth is there inside, there is a curtain between you and the truth. And when you want to read the truth, then you remove the curtain. And when you remove the curtain and go inside, then you are not there. Because truth and you have become one. So ultimately, we have to be, we will have the experience of oneness with God, but that will start with our prayer. So to realize God, one is the prayer, please reveal thyself, your nature to me, or let me know my nature, whatever is there. So to realize, really have the spiritual practice, there are two broad paths. One is called Jnana Yoga, and another is called Bhakti Yoga, path of knowledge and path of devotion. Both lead to the same goal. So what is the difference between path of devotion and path of knowledge? Path of devotion, it is, the God is personal. Personal means he is either some form or it has some qualities. It can grant you some blessing, and it has definite qualities. It must be, maybe it is not like a human being, but it can give you grace, give you blessing, answer your prayers. It can give what you seek. That is one thing with the personal God. And impersonal is all-pervading. He is not a person. He is not a being. He is all-pervading. You cannot say God is beyond the clouds. You cannot say God gives something. You cannot say that. It's very impersonal in Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, God becomes all-pervading reality. It is ever-living reality. In the path of devotion, our progress depends on God's grace upon us. We are dependent on God will remove our obstacle. God will pull us towards Him. God will make our mind pure. God has so much to do, and this all is called grace. When we get something, when we ask and we get, that is called grace. Is grace something unconditional? Totally, very definition says, you do not deserve it, but you get it. That is true. But one person said to me about the definition of grace, that it's not that you don't do anything to achieve grace. Grace is you get enormous in the ratio of what you do. Very little you do, and what you get is enormous. Example is Sri Ramakrishna's unfurling the sail. Grace is always blowing, and that unfurling of the sail you have to do. But you did little work of just unfurl the sail, and what will happen? Whole your boat was taken across the water body. So much work was done of little work you did, but how much enormous effect was produced by the grace of God. So we need to have little work done for everything. So that is the grace. For example, it is very cold inside, and I'm not able to see light, and all dark, and I want light, I want warmth. Then we pray to God, give me light, give me warmth, it's so cold. So only prayer will not do. So do a little work, and there will be the grace, and you get everything. What is little work? Open the door and go outside. And there is the grace of God. Sun shining, warm, everything nice. You get the light, you get warm. Little opening the door and stepping out, little work. For that, how much you get? You got. Whole sun started shining on you. And you got the warmth, you got light, you got joy. You can see the bird chirping. All gloominess, contentness, closedness inside the room are all gone. Isn't that the grace? What you got, did you work so much to get that? Did you create the sun? Did you create the whole universe? Nothing you did. All was given to you for little work that you did, so insignificant thing you did, and you got enormous. That all is the grace of God. And in Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, much is set on the effort, self-effort. You have to have sharp intellect, and you have to try to always think of the reality and discernment of unreal thing, and whatever you see is unreal, that nirvana should come. So that is the path. That also is the path. It's not that you by Jnana Yoga will not reach there. By Jnana Yoga also it is there. So, but self-effort must emphasize in sharp intellect. What is grace and prayer? Nothing needed. When Totapuri came to Sri Ramakrishna and asked, do you want to practice Advaita? Sri Ramakrishna said, let me ask mother. That was the prayer. What to do, tell me. Nothing I will do. Sri Ramakrishna was totally dependent on prayer, on Holy Mother. That surrender comes with prayer, and in bhakti that comes. Totapuri thought, where is he going? He saw him going to the temple. That's what type of this grown man going to the temple, to his stone image, and asking something where to do, what not to do. He thought, oh, he will learn later on. After that he went and Sri Ramakrishna came beaming joy and he said, yes, I will learn Vedanta. Mother said, for that I have brought this teacher to you. So that is the bhakti, and this Jnana Yogi, this Totapuri didn't believe in this temple and asking. It's all up to us. You decide whether you want to do Vedanta or not. Why to ask God or you call someone God? Where is God? So be strong yourself, make your intellect sharp, make your mind pure yourself by not being caught into the Maya and into the unreal. Try to always discern from real from the unreal. Whatever you perceive is unreal, the reality is that which is not perceived. You cannot say what is real. Reality has to come by yourself. In Jnana Yoga it's so tough. Only what you see and if affect and act on is all said, it is all unreal. In fact, the Jnana Yoga will say the whole world is, creation is unreal. Why? Because it is perceived. Because we, for our five senses, perceive it, we touch it, you see it, you smell it, that's why it is unreal. So to think whatever we deal with is as unreal, it's not for everyone to do that. It needs very sharp intellect to be always discerning, discriminating between the real and unreal, and being established in reality always. So it is a very tough work. So there much is done on self-effort, and in Bhakti Yoga it is all on grace. I want grace of God. I know I am weak. I cannot do. But with your power, I become very powerful. In the path of bhakti, it is object-oriented, and path of jnana is subject-oriented. Path of bhakti is much on God. God is your supreme. You go, you pray to God. When you leave your house, make my day good, and then you start praying to God for everyone. Somebody becomes sick, couldn't come, then you close your eyes and say, Thakur or Shiva or Ganesha, make him well. You always pray. So it is always object. Your thought goes to your Ishta, and you pray that from Ishta will come all the benefit and all the grace to the people whom you pray for. And there the prayer starts. It is object oriented. Object is, what is your object? Object is your Ishta, your God is your object there. Not the worldly things. But relation is there. Worldly things are not that you say it is all unreal and I don't want to be caught in that. Sri Ramakrishna always ideal says, Rishis who always lived in the knowledge of the self were always afraid. Why would they be afraid? They were the knowers of Brahman. Rishira bhaya tarase means tras, and bhaya means fear. They must be always fearful and be careful of what? Lest they be caught by Maya. Because this Maya is very powerful. So for that they will not venture anything if I am caught there. But he said the bhakta doesn't mind. He goes from up to the inner circle. For bhakta there is no fear of being caught in Maya. Bhakta knows there is God to save him. And so much surrender is there. If God wants me to be caught in the Maya and gone and suffer, let his will be done. Let thy will be done is the prayer of bhakta. Total self-surrender. And when total self-surrender is there, absolute self-surrender is there, then it's called mukti. In the language of bhakta, that is mukti. Sayujya, sarupya, salokya, that comes later on, philosophical. But mukti, according to bhakta, is total self-surrender to the will of God, by the will of Rama. What mukti you need other than that? You know the story of by the will of Rama. Those who have read Gospel, they know. Suddenly you remember by the will of God, Rama you don't know. So one devotee of God, Rama, was there. So he knew that everything happens by the will of God. And he didn't bother for anything else. And so much faith in Rama and his work, everything happens by the will of God, by the will of Rama. Ramiricha. So one day he was a trader, you see, he used to make clothes and was a very honest person. When people asked what is its cost, He used to say it cost some 1 rupee 10 anna, then he used to give all the breakup. This was the yarn I bought, this is the labor charge, this is the profit. So for him everything was so clear. Though we often say, you do business and you be truthful, how can you succeed? You will not succeed. You will definitely succeed, but you may not be able to make $1 million. You may not be able to cheat others. But as far as success in business is concerned, this honesty and truthfulness definitely will bring. It is very important to be untruthful to be successful in business. That any holy person won't believe that, because they can show truthfulness is the policy. So one day he had sold the thing, whatever was sold, and he was sitting outside and enjoying the evening, just going to bed, and it was a summer time, and enjoying the cool breeze. There came a band of dacoits. So dacoits were going to some village to plunder and loot, and their manpower that day was 1 person less. So they came here and they saw one young, strong man was sitting there. They just caught him and dragged him. Instead of asking or requesting, nothing that, come. And that person also, everything happened by the will of God, so he also went. Nothing, no worries. What are you doing this? No fighting, nothing doing. And they were a very powerful person. He also went. And they looted the village, a person in the village, this person. And things were being loaded on different other, all the dacoits, all robbers. And in the meantime, what happened? Police got the information. Police came. All others were trained robbers. You see, they're training and not training. So all others were trained dacoits, and when they were caught, they heard police coming, they left the things and ran away. This one who believer in God, he didn't know how to go, he didn't know anything robbing. He understood something wrong going on, but he was not so quick. So police came and found, oh, here is a person red-handed with the looted goods. He was caught. Now who will believe that I have not done anything, some I came, who will say? You have there the evidence, there is a proof. And he caught, was kept in the police custody for a whole night, and next day was presented to the judge. Now judge asked, how did you do it? How did it happen? Then he said, Lord, everything happens by Ram's will. So I was, by Ram's will, I had finished my day's work, and after dinner I was sitting outside, and by Ram's will a band of dacoit came. And Ram's will they dragged me, Ram's will they looted a house, Ram's will they put the luggage on my head, and by Ram's will police came, by Ram's will they all fled, and by Ram's will I was caught. That was his saying. But that saying is not the proof that he is not a robber, you see. But in the meantime, what happened from the village, knowing that he has been caught looting some of the property, all villagers, his villagers came and said, no, he cannot do, something wrong will be there. So they all had come in the court to the court and wanted to say to the judge, please release him. And the judge listened to that, found that person seems to be very honest. They have to judge the people. That's why judge. Ordinary people will go only through the evidence and all that. Judge has to judge the person through speaking, how he does, and if he is convinced, he can definitely give punishment or release. So judge released. Then he came outside, and villagers are all waiting for him. They were all happy that he was released, and they asked him, what happened? How it happened all this? He said, by Ram's will I was sitting outside, he said everything. And then after that he said, I told this by Ram's will it happened, and by Ram's will, judge released me. Judge didn't punish me. So that also is Ram's will. So if this is not mukti, not worried for anything, by Ram's will he was discharged, he was not punished. Suppose judge didn't accept and he was convicted and he goes to jail. What will this person say? For him he will say, by Ram's will I am in the jail. For him it was no different. Okay, give food, by Ram's will I am here. So that person who is totally dependent and knows that everything happens by the will of God, so that person is totally free. Mukti is already attained. He is Jivan Mukta. He is not worried for anything. He knows, he is convinced that everything that happens in the world happens by the will of Rama. Like Sri Ramakrishna saying, even a leaf cannot move without the will of God. That leaf moves by air, that is also will of God. When we have such kind of conviction, that is mukti. And that is a kind of jivan mukti. Another jivan mukti is you know that you are not working. You see, by jnana yoga. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manneti tattavit. I do nothing. The seeing, walking is not me doing. I am just the witness. This what I say as my body or myself, that is just the ignorance. By that I say. But in fact, in reality, I am not that. I am not any of the things I see, and even including my body and mind, that is also I am not. So I don't think, I don't work, I don't blink my eyes, this is all nature and doing on the object, on the path of the nature. Natural senses and the objects. That relationship, but not with me. That is also mukti. Then also you do nothing. Here God does everything. Here nothing is being happened, all this ignorance is doing everything. Somewhere it says God and you enjoy it, and there is ignorance doing, you are, in both cases you are not involved. Someone else doing all these things, and that is called the mukti. And what is the relationship between and in subject oriented we know as it is subject, is the self, it's all your sadhana goes towards the knowing of the self. Who am I? That is the question all going on. I am not this, I am not this. Basic question is, who really then I am? So we cannot find who am I. So negate everything, neti, and then you reach who I am in samadhi or some deep conviction. You first understand, have a little glimpse of yourself, and finally you really realize when you have true knowledge dawn, that who you are. So in Bhakti Yoga, it is relationship. Jnana Yoga is also relationship. Bhakti Yoga is I-thou relationship. I and you, O Lord. Always everything is connected with I and God. And in Jnana Yoga, it is I-that relationship. Because there is no God. That the truth. That the reality. But it is connected. Finally, the I and that has to merge. Tat Tvam will be there, and Tat and Tvam has to be Asi, it merges, it is one. So that has to come here also. Devotee will feel totally close to God, one with God, servant of God. Whatever his relation comes, it will happen. But the relation starts with I-thou relationship. So, to have the spiritual growth, the prayer is important, because prayer is like a movement, a progress from God to devotee. How prayer is from God to devotee? Because the devotee asks something from God. Lord, please protect me. Now who will protect? The thing is coming from it is only the petition or is saying something the devotee does. Everything is given by God to the devotee. Okay, I'll protect you. Okay, I'll grant you. Okay, you'll be fearless. Okay, Madhusudan Dada, I will come. Like that, everything God gives to the devotee. So the prayer makes movement of God from God to devotee. Everything that is needed for the devotee is given. There is another thing in the spiritual practice when we get connected with God, and that is called worship. How do we connect with God in worship? Worship, in fact, seems that devotee offers to God, but offering external object is really not offering. If actually aim is offering your own soul to God. Did Swami Sarvadevananda say that thing? When we offer food, does God really eat food? Did he say that? That he put the jam on the bread? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
So that is it. You all have heard that jam on the bread?
No, we no.
You haven't heard? So Swami Sarvadevananda, someone asked, Swamiji, we offer food to God. So we see you get the same food back. Does God really eat? Sarvadevananda gave a very nice example. I don't know, he thought himself or he got somewhere, but it's a very nice, it's really very beautiful. He says, when you offer jam on the bread, on the toast to your child, generally what the child does, it licks the jam. It doesn't bite the whole bread, because that is sweet and tastier. So God does exactly that thing. So what does it lick? What does God lick? In the food. Because you put lot of your love when you offer food to God. God is very hungry and He likes to have that love from you, and He loves the love. He likes accept the love that you offer with the fruit, and He licks the love like a child licking the jam on the bread. Maybe food same, but He has accepted something that we have given, and it is your love and your faith in God. So there is giving, and God is accepting. In fact, what we really give in worship is our own soul, our whole thing. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Oh Lord, you are my all in all, my everything is yours. As one jokingly was saying, the gentleman surrenders everything to God. So the gentleman had some pain in his pocket, and so when he said, it was said that when he does bow down to God, always the pain, whole set of pain falls there on the altar. So that is like offering everything that you have. So like that we really offer our soul to God. That is worship. Worship from devotee to God. What is the ultimate gift? It is soul to God. In prayer, God grants you, God gives you, the thing comes from God to you. You just knock the door, you just put the bell door and then give the list. I want this, I want this. And God has to supply everything. The movement is not from you to God that much as it's from God to you. And in worship, it is all you want to offer to God. That is worship. And what is meditation? Another way is connecting to God is meditation, definitely. And Swami Vivekananda says meditation is the best way to be connected to God. And meditation makes us closer to God, you see. And that's why it is said, when you step one step towards God, God comes 10 steps towards you. And in meditation, you just want to be connected to God in your thought. And it just makes it closer. Both perhaps walk to each other. It's giving from both of them. And it's coming to God together. But prayer is very important. As Jesus said, ask and it shall be given to you. And He said, seek and you shall find. And knock and it shall be opened unto you. You see, there is also opening. All this asking, seeking and knocking, what are they? They are like the prayer. But you can say asking is really the prayer, because you ask something and God gives you. That is what the prayer is. And seeking is something that like it can be compared to the worship. You seek and you find. And meditation is like knocking at the door, becoming closer, and then you come, the door is opened. Regarding saying the prayer can be of two types, broadly speaking. One is when we chant the mantra, then speak, that's the vocal prayer. And other prayer is called prayer of the heart. From heart you pray, from your mind. You don't talk. Most of our, even our japam is nothing but our prayer. We do silent japam, and each japam is the prayer. Mostly japam is all the name of God. And if you are the formal japam, you will find the japam, there is little connection with God. And the connection is, I offer to you, I surrender to you, I bow down to you. Something like that of there is a connection. So that is the silent prayer, prayer of the heart. Prayer of the heart or the silent prayer is also called prayer of simplicity. It is not known, not heard, but you are doing prayer. Sri Ramakrishna always said that when someone said, I want to build a temple or something, he said, if you want to do spiritual practice, you should do so that others don't understand. It should not be praised. As Jesus also said, don't pray in the market, pray in the corner, so that nobody understands. That is what the silent prayer is. Otherwise, often what happens is, people often make a show of even the prayer, you see. So, saying all the mantras so that people are impressed and all that. I have seen some people who are devotees of Thakur and all that. But whenever there is to be some celebration and there will be a lot of people, he will invariably come to the altar and make Sastanga Pranam in front of all. So other times it was not that much. But celebration time, when people were there was a show of devotion. So sometimes our prayer may become the show of devotion unless it is quiet, and that doesn't help in spiritual progress. The spiritual progress should be quiet and people don't know, and that's why Sri Ramakrishna always emphasized about the Sattvika devotee. He said the three kinds of worshipper. One, he said, is Rajasika, Tamasika and Sattvika. What is Rajasika worshipper? He had wonderful dress and garlands and expensive clothes. He will worship with all the articles of worship. There has to be everything like we do in Durga Puja. It's like Rajasika worship. Everything is to be there, and the nice shining clothes will be there, silk clothes, all those things. That's called Rajasika worship. Every paraphernalia done, that's the Rajasika worship. And the Sattvika worship is, person even doesn't know that anybody knows. Perhaps they think he's sitting in the mosque, in the mosquito net and doing nothing. He's not worshipping. Perhaps people don't understand. Like our Latu Maharaj, Swami Adbhutananda. Adbhutananda ji, he stopped sleeping at night. You know that Sri Ramakrishna said, "You are sleeping in the evening. When you will call God?" And that time he said, "I will not sleep." How strong determination to this person. We say Adbhutananda, miraculous Sri Ramakrishna, how a shepherd boy became a saint. But behind there are two elements. There is self-effort and there is grace. Without that, only through self-effort, if you try, you may have. But for that also to succeed, there has to be grace, which you have not sought from personal God. You think everything happened by your own will. Nothing happens. Swami Sarvagatananda used to say, can you prepare even a button with yourself without taking help of others? You want to create a button, just simply put on, sir. Can you create without the help of others? You cannot do anything without the help of others. So you need the help. For achieving something great, you need the help. So when we say everything happens by self-effort alone, there you don't understand that the grace, the help has come. So Adbhutananda stopped doing that, and of course to be succeed in not sleeping whole night, there has to be grace, otherwise it's very difficult. So he didn't sleep at night. So when after that he gave up sleeping at night, he practiced determination, and of course Sri Ramakrishna's grace was there. And then after Sri Ramakrishna passed away in Baranagar Math, all slept. Monks meditated at morning, evening and night time, they were resting. And there was a sound. Some sound, tuk 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 tuk, all coming like that. So they thought, what is happening? Couldn't understand, some rat comes or what. So once the sound was coming, so once Swami woke up and he lighted the lamp, and till then nothing was there. Sound also gone, and no any abnormality was there. How the sound coming? Another day again sound coming at dead of night. Cut 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 sound coming. So that day what they did, we have to find what is the rat or insect or what is this? Why sound comes from inside? So they didn't put out the lamp. This used to be a hurricane lamp. Hurricane is lantern, you see. They make it very small, weak, and when the sound started coming at dead of night, they suddenly make it larger. Light filled the room, and they found this Ladu Maharaj was sitting inside the mosquito curtain at dead of night when all others were asleep and repeating his rosary, Rudrakshamala, and that sound, Khat Khat Ramakrishna Ram, whatever his mantra Guru gave him, that he was doing, and that sound, and that time he was caught. That whole night, hidden from the eyes of others, he was doing that practice. It is Sattvika prayer. Japam is what is definitely prayer. Japam is prayer, is connection. You see, everything is getting connected to the higher power. You call God, you call your own self. It's just getting connected to the reality. That's the best thing. Prayer, worship, meditation, all different modes of connection. And what is Tamasika prayer? Tamasika worship is being very, you become rude sometimes with God. You become, somehow have to find it. What? You have created me and you will not show me? That's why that. And Swami Vivekananda used to say, that is how mother listens. Mother, oh mother, if you can please give me. Mother won't listen to that. Mother, what you won't give? I am not your son. You have created me, brought me here. You have to give me Brahma-jnana. You have to give me your realization. You have to force on mother. That's what Sri Ramakrishna also says, no, some stories, when the child asks something and pestering mother, mother, please give me 2 paisa. So, no, your father will be angry and he's not leaving, saying, mother, please give me, I want this, I want this. Then he says, okay, when you have so much of doing always pestering, then mother will put her safe and brings 2 paisa and gives to him. Okay, don't take to your father like that. So, like that is a forceful prayer. You have to do with full faith in God. That will come, tamasika will come not easily. It has to be full faith that mother has created me and mother will listen to me, she is my own mother. God is my own, as Sri Ramakrishna says. Everything that Sri Ramakrishna says has so deep meaning. God is our own. So, and when that Nanak Panthi sadhu, some devotees, Sikh devotees were there, this is how God is, God's grace to us comes as the air and food that He gives, and He makes us live. The air we breathe is given by God. Sri Ramakrishna says, is that the grace of God? That God has to give. If God doesn't give, who will give? Who will feed your son? If you won't feed your son, your children you have to feed, your neighbors will not feed. So we are all children of God. It's God's duty that we survive, we live. So He has to provide us food, He has to provide us air, He has to provide everything that we need for living. That is His duty. Where is the grace? It's responsibility. It comes from lot of faith in God as something always looking and taking our care. If you don't have that faith, God is taking our every care, you cannot have that faith. Then that person said, then God's grace, there is nothing called grace. He said, why? Of course there is something called grace. If you are pure in mind and you are progressing in spirituality, you are friendly to all, you have serenity in your behavior, and you have devotion to God, that will be the grace of God. Means more inner human, real human nature is developed, that will be grace of God. Only survival, that is God's duty. God gave that to everyone that He has created on this earth. That's what Sri Ramakrishna wants to say. So if you want to progress more like a devotee, like a seeker, there is the grace of God needed. That really God doesn't give to everyone. The God then, how much you have the capacity to take, that God gives. So that's the grace of God. Now, how to pray? We understood that prayer is very important. It's for the connection with God, and it's not only seeking, but it's adoration, and also sometimes seeking all form of anything that through our mind we want to connect with God, whether personal or impersonal, that becomes prayer, and it's present in every religion that we want to connect to God. Saying the mantra, doing the japam mantra, that is also a kind of prayer. Wishing something is also prayer. Now, how to pray? Prayer should be intensely personal, natural and spontaneous. These 3 qualities. It has to be natural. Not something has written somewhere and you are not connected with that, you just speak that doesn't become real prayer. That may have some impact, but prayer has to be natural. And it has to be spontaneous. It should come from the heart. It should come from the heart. And it should be personal, that you feel yourself connected. There is the feeling of connection, that God is listening and you are speaking, that it becomes personal, natural and spontaneous. Then it becomes really effective prayer. Because prayer can be effective and it may not be so much effective. To become the effective prayer, that is very important. And as I said, vocal prayer and the silent prayer. So silent prayer is definitely the better prayer when we speak to God with heart. So is there no importance of prayer through speech? When we pray, chant some mantras, we sing some devotional songs. Is that of no importance? We shouldn't do that? That is also important. Because all the time in 24 hours, our mind goes through different stages. Sometimes it is very intense, sharp, active, alert. That time the prayer comes to our heart. But suppose sometime that or someday it is not that alert. You are tired. You are not able to focus. The things doesn't well up from the heart. Then what you do? That time vocal prayer is important. The chanting, the saying songs, or just doing some mantra, and that makes the help. So vocal prayer is also very important according to our idea of our condition of our mind. When you are not in intense mood for prayer, that is very important. As they say, even for our japam also they say, when you feel tired, so don't give up japam. You get up and walk a little and then do japam. While walking you can repeat the mantra, or then after walking you feel fresh and then you sit down and repeat the mantra. Like that, the vocal prayer, when there is no intensity of mind, that time vocal prayer is important. Like there are some popular prayer I'll talk to you like later on. Is praying is begging? Does a man of prayer is really a beggar to God? Tum Prabhu, main deena bhikhari. I am a beggar and you are my Lord. That often poets sing. But there is basic difference between a beggar and the holy man who prays. You know, that's the basic difference. What is the difference? First is, in beggar and the donor, there is no relationship. You are not connected with the person who gives you. But in prayer, it is relationship. You know, God is your own. He has to give you. He has created you. You belong to God and God belongs to you. In prayer, there is relationship. And in beggar-donor relationship, there is no relationship. The prayer of a devotee and God and begging of a beggar and the donor, there is that difference. Relationship is there in praying. In begging, you want something that the person owns and something you need help. Sharing. You share something that he has or he owns to you. But in prayer, God doesn't give you something that you don't own. What you ask, really you own, only you are not able to manifest that. Purity of mind is your birthright. Somehow it has become impure. Good living, well thought, friendliness, goodwill towards all is your right. So somehow it is not working, that's if you want help from God. So you don't seek anything that you don't own. It is your birthright, whatever you seek from God. So you ask for what you have right up to. So this is the two difference. And as I said, prayer is the first knock at the door. It is most easiest, most common and very basic spiritual practice. And other spiritual practice may come after that. And whole spiritual practice based only on prayer and not developing from that won't help. Prayer has to develop itself, you see. How it should develop? Prayer with words that we chant should transform into silent prayer. Then you, after you chant it, then should be connection direct. You talk through your mind to God. And silent prayer should lead you for something you want to achieve, something you want to gain. That is silent aspiration. And when you thus are connected with God, then you want to be absorbed in the thought of God. Prayer to silent prayer to absorption in God. That's how the progress happens. Prayer leads you to be in presence of God. Then you may not ask anything, but it leads you in presence of God, and that's called contemplation on God. So, as Swami Vivekananda said, meditation is the best form of spiritual practice. So when meditation is not possible, it's not always possible, it's not possible for all persons, and even for one who is good in meditation, it's not possible for him to do meditation always. Sometimes it is good, sometimes it doesn't happen. When there is little lethargy in mind or in body, then the prayer works that time. Prayer itself leads to concentration. It will finally transform into concentration. So what we need to do to have the real effective prayer that really rouses my aspiration to be with God, makes me closer to God, makes me really connected to God. The purpose of prayer is getting connected to God. Prayer acts like a pipe, the gas pipe, as Sri Ramakrishna used to say, from gas office to the homes. And the prayer connects the God to the devotees, you see. And the God's qualities all start flowing to the devotee. The devotee with the strong and effective prayer starts manifesting God's quality, Daivi gunas. Abhayam, Sattva, Samsuddhi, like those things start coming to the devotee itself. So, what are the prerequisites for effective prayer? So, first is prayerful attitude. The attitude should be that I will pray to God and my mind not be distracted. For that you do everything. For to pray to God, you pray to Ganesha. Ganesha, may I be able to pray. May my prayer be effective. May all the obstacles on the path of my prayer be removed. That's what you do, prayer to Ganesha for the prayer to God. Ganesha is also God. But the God who removes our obstacles is that becomes Ganesha. God who gives us learning, that becomes Saraswati. God who gives us prosperity becomes Lakshmi. It's the same God. Same God we pray differently. Hindus are so expert. You pray for different things and they think that God itself is different. One whole set is there to pray for that particular aspiration, to particular thing. You may not pray that. As I was talking about Swami Swahananji saying that when you have to ask purely spiritual things, ask to Sri Ramakrishna. When you have to ask worldly things needed, then ask to Holy Mother. The difference is not there in Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna. It's not that Holy Mother cannot give you spiritual things. She can grant you. It's not that Ganesha cannot give you what you are asking to Shiva. Ganesha definitely can give you whatever Shiva gives you. Ganesha is the same, because Ganesha is not different from Shiva. Ganesha and Shiva are the same being. But we try to think Ganesha as the remover of obstacles in the path of my prayer, path of my prosperity, on the path of my some goal. So when we think of God as removing goal, we call him Ganesha. So we pray to Ganesha. And to have the prayerful attitude. And this prayer is so important. When you go on praying, our attitude changes. As a study question came, faith first or prayer first? If prayer first and faith is not important, no. Prayer will change our intensity of our strength of faith in God. That has to change. Faith has to come. Without faith, how will be real effective prayer? Faith has to come. Beginning may be prayer, even without faith. But faith has to come after your prayer starts. So prayer will definitely be different when we start doing prayer. We teach our children. You see, children may not have faith in the presence of God that as we have. But we say, come, bow down. How this Somjita was asking her daughter, come, bow down to God. So that is how the faith will start. Now she does, because her mother says, after some time she will feel, yes, I feel good when I bow down. I feel power coming to me when I pray. That she will feel, but that has to start even without that faith. That is how the prayer matures into some effective prayer that way. The attitude of the prayer changes. To have the prayer, effective prayer, faith is definitely important. Without that, there is not effective prayer. Real prayer comes when you have the feeling of helplessness. Otherwise, why will you pray? If you can find everything by yourself, then you will be like Jnana Yogi, or you may not pray. Pure Jnana Yogi without even prayer are very difficult to see. Maybe Totapuri was one we read as in Sri Ramakrishna's case. But how he reached to that state we also don't know. Maybe he had prayed. So pure without any feeling of God and without any prayer, you reach to the state and to be able to say, I am Aham Brahmasmi, it's not possible, you see. You need a lot of prayer. lot of prayer for that. May I achieve that success. I will achieve that success. That itself becomes prayer. That prayer, you can say, self-confidence itself is a kind of prayer. That I will do it. When you pray to God, that is what you gain. You gain, yes, that power has come and now it is easier for me to reach the goal that I am seeking. If I pray, now it is easier that I will definitely go give exam. Before exam, you go and pray to God. Mother Saraswati, please make me pass exam. And I feel that Mother's grace is there, now I will do. If you don't have feeling that you have achieved something and now you have more self-confidence, then prayer becomes ineffective. You go to the temple and you pray and still you don't have any confidence, growth is there, then prayer is not effective. To have the effective prayer, there has to come change in your attitude. And real prayer comes when you are helpless. That's why Sri Krishna said to Arjuna said to Sri Krishna, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava. I am covered with the Karpanya dosho, Kripana. Nothing I have. The Kripana means who doesn't give. As if Kripana will say, no, I cannot give you. Why? Oh, I am poor, how can I give? Kripana is miser, but why miser? As if he doesn't have to give. That sort of feeling, Karpanya dosho, I don't remember what I have learned. I don't feel that I can lead my life. I have no power to decide what to do at this stage. That was the Karpanya dosho, upahata svabhava. Arjuna says, I am totally confused. I cannot think. Please guide me. He felt that. He has no power to decide and totally surrendered to Sri Krishna. Now I am covered with the Karpanya dosha, please guide me. That feeling of helplessness, God help, then the help comes. And you know how this help comes? There have been examples of how, particularly if I say Holy Mother, always you will say it's like biased to Holy Mother, but there are some examples of Holy Mother. One is Sri Ramakrishna, one I tell you two examples. The first one is Swami Sarvagatananda. Sarvagatananda was staying in the ashram, Boston Center. He came newly. His predecessor had very good relation with others. Somehow the devotee who owned and helped his predecessor, somehow he couldn't like this person. You see, it happens. You have a strong affinity with some, it's very difficult to have affinity with others. When Prabhupada left, for Swahanandaji it was not easy to become acceptable to all. Only there was one Swami, they said, they praised him very much for that. What is his name? One American Swami, he started serving Swahanandaji from day one as he served Swami Prabhupada. He used to drive car without any distinction. That's great spiritual quality. This person has come, Vedanta has sent, I loved him, but now I will serve him. That type of feeling. So, this lady, who was full of support, somehow he didn't like Sarvagatananda. And now he called the police. So, I don't want this monk to be here. Now see, this difficulty. This is America, single person has come from India. That time it was not like this. No Hindu Samaj, nothing was there like that. So, what he will do? He went and prayed to Sri Ramakrishna, shrine and prayed to Sri Ramakrishna. I don't know anything, whatever you do. I have no power. And perhaps that house where the ashram was belonged to that lady. She was very devoted to Akhilanandaji. So, predecessor of Swami Sarvagatananda. Somehow it happened. And police was called. He prayed earnestly to Sri Ramakrishna. Nothing he has no hand. He can do nothing now. He is in foreign land. And he's alone, he doesn't know the rules, there is no way. And he goes there and the police comes, 911 call, police comes, and he saw that lady was waiting at the door. And he said, you said it is a monastery, what a woman has a work to do in the monastery, step aside. He went, where is the monk, I want to talk to him. He doesn't know. He goes to the monk and Swami says everything. You see, this was the case, this is the very support, and somehow he says that it belongs to the Vedanta Society. For many years it is serving. And every resolution and decision of the police went to the favor of Vedanta Society and to Swami Sarvagatananda. Not to that American lady, to this brown skinned monk, this white police White policeman supported fully. So how will you describe it other than the grace of Sri Ramakrishna? An effective prayer to Sri Ramakrishna, having that I am helpless. Such type happens in our life also. If we see our life, how many times we have prayed, we have gained by God, and then we forget. That is the problem, you see. But if we remember, many things in our life happen by the effective prayer. We get many things in life that change the course of our life. And there is some power that is always guiding and helping us. We won't be what we are today without the grace of God. Another example is Swami Banishanandi. He came to the West, Germany. First the language problem, then the people problem is the public. And there was a big house in a village, no other center. Village, who will go? No Indian community who will support. How much these people, local people will know about Vedanta society, so different, so difficult. And particularly what Swami was saying, if it is not a English speaking country, it is very difficult to understand the philosophy. English speaking people are more, they are broad and they know about India, they some of have heard about the Indian philosophy and Vedanta, they might be there. But though German knows some Sanskrit, but to understand Vedanta in a village called Vinvaide, is village, rural setting. Big house somebody donated and Vedanta Ramakrishna Mission say, go there, he's donating, let us make a center there. And first monk comes and when he came, he finds a big house, no devotee, no support, much support, very little money. Now he has to pay the taxes and whatever was there. No repair could be done, little they have to make retreat and some money used to come that month. Now there is no money at all. He goes to Holy Mother, I said, Mother, I don't know what to do. I don't know anyone here. And we have to pay so much bill. The amount is there. What to do? So he earnestly prayed, I have nothing. You are the only guide, you see. That's the Kripamayananda dosh, Karpanya, Bhava, helplessness. And then in the afternoon, one German gentleman comes and, oh, you are here. What do you do here? So we preach Vedanta. What is Vedanta? Some verses happen, Swami to tell nicely. So how are you running this big show? You don't do work, nothing. So we depend on this donation, but we need funds. But funds are not coming. Oh, how much you need? Whatever you can give. He wrote a check. Not known person, doesn't know Vedanta. Just was nearby in the village. He knew that there is a Vedanta society has come, and he writes some 20,000 euro check to him and gives to Swami. For that he paid the bills. He renovated the ashram, whatever was to be done. And the work starts by Mother's grace. If it is not Mother's grace and answer of the feeling when he felt himself helpless, that is not that, then what it is? Then he started one center in Frankfurt, in Germany itself. Now there is another third center in Berlin. How much work Banishananda is doing. And we say that Banishananda is doing so much. But what is the power behind Banishananda doing? Of course, Banishananda has been brought by that power, he has been given that energy and that intelligence, but there is the higher power that works, whom we call Trinity, whom we call Divine Mother. So, he gives, he chooses the person like Banishananda who has intellect, mind, self-confidence, and that all is given by her, and all situations make favorable, and center after center coming. Swami goes to Brazil. Brazil is a place where all Catholics, Hindus are not there, Indians are very few, no Indians, and totally different religion, Vedanta coming, and a place where Portuguese is spoken. English is also not spoken. There he goes, and he starts connecting with the people, and people come forward, listen about Vedanta. Something has happened miraculously to some people in some place that Brahmananda has inspired someone to start an orphanage and run. Have you heard that story from Banishananda?
No.
Well, it's Brazil, sorry, it's not Banishananda. From, that Swami, we should invite one, that Swami, very nice story. Krishnamurti, Swami Nirmalatmananda. Nirmalatmananda from Brazil. So his was also miraculous work. So he went there and some devotees, they went there and said, you make a center. He started a center in Sao Paulo. And there he started becoming connected with the people, and he said to us, he had come to this year. And how this people coming forward and liking with the philosophy of Vedanta, though very Catholic, and they do it on Saturday. All their services are done on Saturday, so that on Sunday many could go to church. They're very devout Christians. And they like Vedanta and they hold on to their own faith. That's the Vedanta that Swamiji has thought of. Be a Christian following Vedanta will be a better Christian. So these people come and he starts in Sao Paulo center, he starts growing, and this is another center in Curitiba, another center in Rio, like 3-4 centers coming up in that place. You see how this work of Sri Ramakrishna growing by the power of prayer and God's grace. By that alone the thing happens. The monks, those who work, they know that they are not the real doer. The all doer is done by the Divine Mother. It's all God that is working through them. There is how that feeling will come helplessness. They say helplessness comes from suffering, sorrow and difficulty. It can be incentive. When we suffer a lot, Swami Vivekananda says, both good days and difficult times are teachers. We come to the world, the worldly purpose is the world does it to give us education, some experience, and we grow spiritually. That is the purpose of the world. And everything that happens in the world, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, are giving us education, experience. And he says, it is the blows that teach us more than the happy times. So suffering is the thing that is very important, that goes us to prayer. When we are in good days, we also pray. God gave that to us. So that time we rush to God. So they say that when the difficult times pushes you to God, and good times pulls you to God. That beautiful doha by Kabir Das, Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. In difficult times, everyone prays to God, remembers God. But in happy times, no one does. And he says, sukh mein, jo sukh mein sumiran kare, dukh kahe ko hoye. If one remembers God in happy times, good times, why will he suffer? Why he or she will suffer? Suffering will not be there. Will there be no suffering for a person who is devoted to God? Will difficult times will not come? If you repeat God's name and connected to God, your life will be smooth, nothing like others. It will not happen. Life is always up and down. Difficult things will come, challenges will come, we'll become sick, all these things will come. Then what does Kabir Das means? That when you have good times and happy days, when you pray, you won't have difficulties, you won't suffer. Because when you have started connecting to God, the suffering that came will not bother you at all. You will have very large heart to accept the suffering as the gift of God, as the inevitable thing that happens to the body, whatever you take, through the Jnana or Bhakti Yoga. Then if you accept the suffering as they come and make you go towards God, suffering becomes a blessing. Some people said to Holy Mother, Mother, you say about the grace of God, but so much suffering in life. Holy Mother says, what are you saying? This suffering itself is the grace of God. That we are suffering itself is the grace of God. Suffering pushes us to God, you see. Then we connected. Somehow we have to be connected to God. And that comes with the grace of God. That beautiful story in the life of Krishna. That Krishna went to an old lady who was very poor, and she treats Krishna very well, and she feeds him, and she asks, Mother, what do you have? How do you make a living? I have nothing, no one, no relative, no child. I am a widow from a long time. I only have one cow. It gives me milk and I drink. And I am so pleased with your service, Mother. You are so devoted. It is very difficult to find a devotee like you, O Mother, Krishna said. And I bless that may your cow die. Arjuna said, what is this? You went before a rich person. You were so arrogant. He did something to you. And you said, let you be more prosperous, more rich. And you saying to this lady only one thing was that she may die. So it was very cruel like decision. God's things are very difficult to understand. Luckily here Arjuna asked and Krishna has given answer, that's why we know. Otherwise we can't understand. Then Krishna said, you see, her full mind is in me. Only this cow is the little thing that is distracting her. So I want her absolute devotion to me. And let that distraction also go. So that she fully is devoted to me. That's why that was my blessing to that lady. It was not curse, it was blessing. Curse become blessing if it can take us to God. What we say curse, it is blessing. Curse, they say blessing in disguise, don't they say? That's what, how you treat the things, the situation that come to you. If you can utilize it for the betterment of your mind and your heart and your spiritual practice, it's definitely a blessing. Suffering that way can be definitely a blessing of God, grace of God. Otherwise, we always complaining, oh, my this is happening, my so much pain, so much difficulty, that person behaved that way ill, now my son is not looking after me, and now I did so much for him and all that. So if you all complain, there is no end to complain. Yeah. Otherwise say, oh, son is very good, he is having his own self, I doesn't have to bother to him, he has now fully grown. Now this suffering, this is the part of the body, it doesn't happen, I don't have to walk much, and now going here, going there, the desire will be less, so I can be more fixed and do more meditation and do that. You see, the pain in your leg, you can treat that way. Therefore, you can see the good things in that. So these things always can be taken, suffering can be taken as the grace of God, and accepting the things. When we grow old and live long for 100 years, and how can this body just remain as such as it was in 20 years or 30 years of age? It will go old, the organs will be weak, and there will be pain. That is for everyone, that is the law of nature. There is no escape from that. If we want to live longer, we have to accept suffering, physical suffering, that will be there. And other things are all happen that way. If we could put our mind and connect it to God through our prayer, worship and meditation, then all these sufferings of life doesn't count. Jo sukh mein samiran kare, dukkha kahe ko hoye. When you are connected to God, when you are pulled to God, when in happiness we are pulled to God, I said that. When we are pulled to God, then there will be no suffering. You don't have to be pushed by the suffering. All suffering comes and goes, okay, it doesn't matter. You just push out the suffering. Brush off the suffering from your thing. Someone says bad words to you, he doesn't know like that. You don't mind that. You don't lose your sleep because someone said something to you. That's it. It's our nature like that. May God bless her. May God bless him like that. There also will be prayer. You'll be able to pray for that person. If it is sincere prayer, things change. Things change. Thank you.